Welcome to North Georgia Now Today. Okay, today is Monday. I've had a couple of days to calm down, but this morning, as I got in the car, I found my little buddy Ross's job description. He was going to come and redo my yard because, to be quite honest with you, I'm thinking about putting my house on the market. And I decided I wanted a total new look, and Ross had spent time out there with me. But this morning, I'm not crying. I'm only laughing and remembering all the funny, crazy things this guy did. He was one of these people, and how did you describe him? As a gentle giant?
Well, he was a big guy, well, I can tell you.
6'7" or so.
Yeah, he's about 6'7", about 350. So
big guy, but every inch of him was fun, and every inch of him was smart. I was reading this about him, and it's funny. I knew he played ball for Auburn. I knew how much he loved it. He had a BS in horticulture at Auburn University. So I'm going to have to start wearing a little orange and blue. Those are not really my colors, but in memory of him and in honor of him, I will. His business has, I've thought about it all weekend long. He's been in business since 1993 and has been in our area. His mom and I went to real estate school together, and she was as funny as he was, but she was a little opinionated, just a little bit, but yep. We will be saying goodbye to him, and I've cried all weekend, but I'm done with the crying. I have nothing but great memories of him, and my brother and I went to breakfast Saturday morning without him, but he always had a large orange juice, and we had that orange juice. So, he was 42 years old, and you said something, and this is true. I've lost a ton of friends this year.
Yeah, I'm getting scared. I'm going to start moving away from you.
Well, it's just weird. But I said, I truly believe that God puts people in your life. And then God can take them out of your life. And maybe He put him there to teach me something, to teach me that every moment is precious.
Well, it is. And you just have to count your blessings every day you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
You really do.
And I'm looking at this, thinking about my yard now, and I honestly don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'll go forward. I don't know what I'm going to do because we were really looking forward to redesigning and doing all down by the pool and everything.
Well,
but
you put it up for sale and let the next guy deal with it.
Well, I thought about that too, but you want it to be attractive in order to sell, because in today's market, you got to have an edge.
You got to be lucky is what you got to do.
You got to be lucky. That's exactly right. Well, I went to church over in Forsyth County. One of my cousins, Helen, goes to Antioch Baptist Church over in Forsyth County. Regina and I went there. And we can tell you, the little woman in the box doesn't know where Antioch Church is. But it took us all the way down Pilgrim Mill, and guess where we ended up?
Highway 400.
At the lake.
Oh.
At the lake. And as we got to the lake, we realized we had a choice, either go ahead and go jet skiing or turn around and go back and find the church. We finally found it.
There's not enough water in that lake to go jet skiing.
There's not enough water in that lake to take a pill.
Take a bath or anything else.
But we went to Antioch, and they sang. Now, their little choir, this was so cool. They sang I'm Not Ashamed, the inspiration song.
That's good.
And had a nice day, went to lunch with them, and then guess where I went last night?
You went to see the Joy Masters.
I did. Well, let me tell you about that GPS once again. We're leaving the church, and it's dark. And I've never been here before, and it is up a little podunk road, and I'm talking a little T90 road. Somehow the interstate changed this area.
Yes,
so I go into this church, never been there before in my life, and as I leave, I go the wrong way. And for those who remember the movie Deliverance, well, I took myself down a dirt road with a creek flowing beside it, and I'm listening for banjos. It was pretty bad, and I'm thinking, I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. It is dark. It is cold. Guess what my gas tank was sitting on?
It wasn't the F, was it?
No, it was below the F. It was way below the F. The light had been on forever. And but Charles and Charlene were behind us, and they said, where is she going? Maybe she knows a shortcut. No.
Did you hear pigs squealing?
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh.
It was bad. It was bad. And then we backed up to get out of there because I finally backed up and turned around, and Charles backed up and almost went in the creek. So maybe I'll just take that GPS out of my car.
Well, GPSs have done to people's directions like calculators did to people's math years ago. It just
took our common sense away.
Yeah, it takes all the manual stuff out. And
I'm so glad you said that, because Charles and Charlene said, where is she going? Well, I just kept going in the wrong direction. That was so stupid. It was so stupid. But I did it. But then I have to tell you about the Joy Masters. They did an awesome job. You talk a tiny church packed to the rafters. It was great.
Good.
It was great. And they will be on here, part of them will be on here January 21st. Then they're going to do a special again. And also our Donna Fargo special will be on the 22nd at 8 o'clock. So they're going to be on about the same time. So it's going to be interesting. But good group of guys, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I wanted to thank you, too, for playing my aunt during the holidays. I had some people at church yesterday said they hadn't seen the original, and they saw the replay, and they just thoroughly enjoyed her, and I appreciate them saying that.
She is so precious. I just wish she lived closer to us.
Well,
that would be tough.
Cartersville's not too far, but yet it's far enough.
Well, and she got lost, the last couple of times.
Now, she needs a GPS.
I don't know that she could, maybe it didn't do her any.
Well,
I don't know. It doesn't help me at all.
Our quartet loaded up at my house to go to Cleveland, Georgia, between Dahlonega and Cleveland to go record a few weeks back, and Terry, our baritone, has one of those. And that lady tried to take us all around the places. I said, no. She'd say, turn right. I said, no, turn left. And we'd go that way. She'd turn right. No, turn left.
Exactly. How much do they pay that woman to talk to us?
Too much.
Well, to me, it really is a basis of common sense, because she does not, sometimes she says what she should, but most of the time she is out in left field.
Now, I wouldn't mind having one if I stuck out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or out in the middle of the Sahara Desert. But, just coming around town here, I don't need it.
Well, have you heard what the temperature is going to be this week?
No, but, this morning was a frost that I hadn't seen in a long time.
We had a big frost. It was 26 when I went home last night. But it is supposed to be cold, cold, cold. Now, at church yesterday, a lady gave me a calendar, and it's called It's Farming Time, Guide to Planting, Plowing, and Pruning.
It's not far off.
No, and this is a 2009, and she makes this available, and I'm going to give you her website. It's www.itsfarmingtime.com. And it is very interesting, and I said people like Cons Ruffert, who like all these funny things, because she's got everything here to plant and when you would plant it, and pruning is something that you need to be doing for me, because it's almost time.
I've got it scheduled this month before the month's over.
Well, we need to look at her calendar and make sure.
Well, I know.
Now listen, I know it, but I'm gonna tell you something. They said she's a really smart chick, so she gave me this yesterday at church, and I'm gonna share it. But if you want some
www.
information, she just gives these away. Itsfarmingtime.com. And it was interesting, and I thought that's pretty cool. Now, that's a pretty neat-looking mule, too, isn't it?
It is.
Have you ever plowed with a mule?
No, my dad has, and he said, boy, they can really work them.
You ever been mule-headed?
Yes. My wife says I have been, yes.
I've been accused of being mule-headed every once in a while. I don't know why.
My dad's granddad was the type that people from all around Bartow County would bring their mules to see him, because he was able to tell how old they were by looking at the mule's teeth.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And he said a mule can walk a straight line better than anything in the world. They got the best balance.
Absolutely. So is that why those rows are absolutely perfect?
That's what he said.
Good idea. What'd you do this weekend?
Well, sang a lot yesterday at church. We had missions conference. We had missionaries in all week from church, and so we did a lot of singing yesterday at church. And it was and my daughter was here, and we went to some basketball games, and went to Cartersville. I took my dad suit shopping. He wanted to go down to K&G and buy him a suit, so we took him down there, and he was like a kid in a candy store. And I've got some good stuff for you that I bought in honor of you from K&G too. So we'll show you some of that tomorrow.
Is it pink and black?
It is pink and black.
Yay,
yes.
Yay. Well, let me tell you what I bought yesterday. When you go to church early in the morning and you wear a long black skirt and pantyhose, well, them suckers ain't gonna last but so long.
That's too much information.
Well, they're not gonna last but so long, and I'm gonna be out of them. So we go with the preacher after church, and we go out to eat, and we leave there, and the temperature drops about 10 degrees. Well, this is a cute black skirt, but it's thin, and I'm freezing to death. So where did I go? My favorite, Belk's. I went to Cumming, Georgia to Belk's. I bought an outfit. I bought some pink and black Nike tennis shoes. I went in the bathroom and I changed clothes. Now, you can only stand pantyhose and a thin skirt so long. It was cold. It was cold. Have you ever had on pantyhose?
No, and I don't plan on it.
Well, there's nothing quite like the way you have to put them suckers on.
I got on I got on some cream-colored socks today. That's about as close as I'm going to get to that. Y'all see?
Well, every man in the world should have to do two things: birth a baby, there'd never be another child born, and wear a pair of pantyhose, because they'd find a way to make it different.
Well, Joe Namath used to wear them. God bless him. But I'm
He
just,
really did, didn't he?
yeah, I just can't bring myself to do it.
Let's talk football. What's going on with
Well,
football?
it was a shocking weekend, really.
It was.
It was. I mean, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'm glad I don't bet on sports. I would be
Right.
broke today. Because all the favorites, almost all the favorites,
It was
lost.
wild and weird and crazy.
We may actually have a Phoenix, Arizona Cardinals,
Right.
and a Baltimore Ravens
Right.
Super Bowl. Who knows?
Right. Well, when I was listening to that, and I'm watching little bits of it, and I'm thinking, what is wrong here? There's something wrong with this picture. So
But you know, that's the way it is every year in baseball. The same
a
way.
lot of turnovers with the Titans, right?
Right, a bunch, and then with
Like 18 or so, or something ridiculous.
well, with Carolina too. But
yeah.
it's always the hottest team. It doesn't matter what they've done all year long. It's always who's hottest right now.
Well, it was kind of surprising, but I'm not interested in any of the teams that are going to play.
You like Philadelphia?
Well, I love Philadelphia,
The Eagles.
yeah, but I really wanted one of the Manning boys to be in there.
Yeah, they've
really,
had their run.
I don't care. I don't care. I really wanted them to be there. But it's going to be cold this week. I've heard that, and we got to be prepared for that. Firewood, people are selling firewood every single day. The gas prices are still, not too terribly bad.
Climbed a little bit.
Climbed a little bit, about 30 cents. But what about heating gas? Let me talk to you about that, because you don't use that.
I've got some propane.
What about people who bought early, like I did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank goodness I've used it all. But the price of that, has it come up or down?
I think it came down a little bit with gasoline. I haven't priced it lately, but it usually stays in line with what gasoline is. So you might could get gas propane for between $1.50 and $2 a
Well,
gallon.
I'm going to call and have my tank refilled, but I got my natural gas bill at the shop.
Oh, you use natural gas.
Well, I was the person laying in the hall kicking and screaming, because all year long they charge you this base price, which I do not understand. I just don't. I mean, and it says right here on it, you used $17.49 worth of gas. Although your bill is $294, you used $17.49 in gas. And then you read all these other things they're charging you for. So I have said, go with propane. I mean, I love natural gas, and I love the idea that it comes right to your house. Who cares when it costs that much? So these pipeline charges that I don't understand, maybe I should go to college. What do you think about that?
Maybe just get you an axe and start chopping firewood.
Well, I'm thinking. But when I got my gas bill this month it's been cold, and our shop is huge, and it's hard to heat. And when I got the gas bill, I just laid down the hall and kicked and screamed and threw things. And then I told everybody the next day to work, I said, wear sweats, wear a jacket, wear extra socks. I don't care what you wear.
Turning it down.
But that thermostat is down to nothing, because my gas bill nearly threw me into cardiac arrest.
You can always
said,
put
"You
on
gotta
some
be kidding."
clothes, I mean.
That's what I told him. I said, don't you come in here looking like it's spring anymore. You come in here looking like you're Eskimo.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if we've been correct. You remember back in the fall, you and I talked about how cold this winter is going to be because of all the signs. Well, we've had some cold, but then we've had some warm, too. Last half of December was warm.
I was going to tell you this. I saw some things budding this weekend.
I did, too.
I saw some things budding.
Some
That
grass,
is
too.
a little unnervy, yeah.
But it's going to, like you said, the weather is supposed to turn cold again.
It is.
By
Supposed to be in the
Friday,
teens.
yeah. So
Yeah.
beware. But we've chopped
Right.
our share of firewood. We got some from your place
Yes,
and all
you
these other
did.
places, and
Yeah.
we've got a bunch.
Where are we going to be tomorrow?
We're going to be at Appalachian Tech in Jasper, Georgia.
Jasper,
A
Georgia.
live
Jasper,
remote.
Georgia, that's where we live.
Now-
That means we're smiling, because that's where we live.
It's kind of an oxymoron. You always say it's a live remote. Well, what are we doing here? I mean, are we dead?
This is live.
This is live.
And this is live.
But it's a remote. We're outside, so
This is live.
y'all come on down and see us.
Tomorrow we will be, it is perfect parking, perfect. They have a ramp for anybody who doesn't like to do steps. They have just a large ramp that goes up. We go to the big glass front part, the atrium, is that what you call it?
I guess.
And inside there, they have a setup with a beautiful big room, lots of chairs, lots of comfort. There'll be food. There's going to be a birthday cake or two, I understand.
It's her birthday tomorrow.
It's my birthday. How old am I going to be?
I'm not telling.
Well, you said
I can't even count that high. You kidding
Well,
me?
I said this morning I got here and I said, "Oh, Lord have mercy, turn the heat down. I'm having a hot flash." And you said,
You're too old. You done went way past the menopause stage.
exactly. He
Hey,
did say that to me.
y'all know
and
if
I'm
we
going
have-
to write your check when? And your check's going to be how much less than usual?
Don't tell me that. You know, if we have a birthday cake for her tomorrow, folks, and it has all the candles that's supposed to be on there,
The fire
we'll
department
have to
will
call
be
the fire
there.
marshal out with the biggest water hose you can find and put that sucker out.
Well, we will be at Appalachian Technical College. We would love to have you come and join us and celebrate me becoming older than dirt. I will officially be older than dirt tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
You know, Methuselah holds the record for 969 years,
Okay.
but you're gaining on him pretty
I'm
good.
gaining on him fast, and Moses' wife had nothing on me, right? Yeah, I hear you. But we will be at Appalachian Tech from 8:30 to 10 in the morning, just like we would be here. We welcome you to come down and be with us. And I can tell you, one of my best places to eat, I just love Pizza King. I love the veggie thin pizza that is now known as the Cherie Martin Pizza. He has given us 10 packages of dinner for 4 people.
Wow.
You get 2 pizzas, 4 salads, wings, and breadsticks. And I'm going to tell you something. Cooking, you can't feed 4 people for $22.
So you're not talking about just a free pizza. You're talking about the
Oh, no, I'm talking about
full-blown
the meal. The meal.
Wow.
And that we will be giving those away when we play trivia. So pay attention to today's program and all of last week's programs, because we're going to talk about this set. Now, have you gotten used to it?
No, but I'm getting used to it.
I love it. I just love it. I can't wait to come to work in the morning. Guess who designed our set? Don't say it.
Oh, don't say
It's
that.
going to be a trivia question tomorrow. If you know, we had her on the show last week. She is featured on our website. We talk about the idea that this lady is here in town. She is on a certain road. We will even ask that question.
I noticed you've got a different
I
little
have. Well, this is because
on the
we're going to talk
couch there.
about quilting. And as the winter months come along, there are a lot of people who choose this time of year to quilt. Can your mom quilt?
She can, yeah. And my aunt that died, Grace, you never met her. She was a fantastic quilter.
Right. Well, do you know what kind of quilt that is?
No, but
Can we get a
it's pretty.
close-up of that quilt? Because tomorrow's trivia question is going to be, what kind of quilt is that?
That's a pretty one.
And some people will know, some people will not have any idea at all. But it is a very, very detailed, hard to make. It is not for warmth or comfort. It is
No.
for beauty.
It's got holes in it.
It has holes in it. It does. But we're going to ask a question about that quilt tomorrow.
It's for decoration.
And it has a certain, it actually came off my bed at the farm. I used that and a dust ruffle on my bed.
Oh, and I don't usually do this, but by the way, Miss Frances Masters, if you're watching, yours is ready. I've tried to call you, but I can't reach you, so. Yours is ready. Just see me tomorrow at the show.
Okay. Well, but anyway, we're going to have trivia questions about our set, about who did the fireplace, because we told his name last week. And he's locally here in LJ. We're not going to talk about him today, but if y'all paid attention last week, we gave him a plug. We gave Brenda Evans. Do you believe I did that? I've done it again. Well, guess what?
Edit
If they're
that.
paying attention today, they'll win tomorrow. How about that?
It's not a multiple choice question or anything. She just kind of, it's like an open book.
Does that have
quiz,
to do with my age, too?
Well.
I'm sure it does.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I'll tell you what it's got to do with the weather. My knee is killing
Your
me.
knee's still killing.
And don't you say one word about age.
Your knee may not get better till about April or May, huh?
No, that's about right. That's what I'm thinking. But I've never noticed a winter that it was this bad.
Well,
But it's been unusually cold.
Yeah, well,
It's
it
been
has, but-
unusually damp, and we have had how much rain?
well, I'll tell you this. That 2 or 3 day stretch we had where we had all that rain, we had at my place, there's a rain gauge, 7 1/4 inches of rain.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Well, I talked to a guy in Dawson County who said they had 9 inches. 9 inches. So that is a lot
And
of rain.
that's pretty standard from, say, like Dalton all the way across the state here.
Right.
6, 7, 8, 9 inches of
Right.
rain. That's a lot of rain.
Well, we talked about, I went to church yesterday in Antioch over in Forsyth County. We're going to give away the Bridgman CD.
Good
What kind
people.
of question can we ask?
What's their last name?
Why don't we ask?
What's his first name?
Why don't we ask? You said something about a singing when we came on there early. And you said you were going to be singing where?
Well, you take your pick. Oh, yeah, here in LJ, but I haven't said that yet.
Okay. But what did you say about where you're going to be singing? You're going to have a group singing at your church? Why don't we ask, what is your church?
Yeah, we can do that.
866-939-2329. If you can tell me, where does Bill go to church? And you will win a copy of the Bridgmans, We Will Sing Eternally. And I enjoyed the day with them yesterday. Travis preached a great message, and it was about the world and the shape it's in today. And according to the Bible, we're in trouble, guys.
Now, does he preach as good as he plays and sings?
He's a good preacher.
Good deal.
He's a good preacher. He is a good preacher. Well, right now we're going to go to the weather, and it's brought to you by my knee and Gilmer County and Appalachian Community
And the
Bank.
Lord.
A great bank to come home to. Welcome back. Now, according to the weather, it's going to get cooler.
Colder.
It's going to get colder. Tell me what kind of birthdays. These people, are they old enough to put lots of candles on their cake so to warm
Well,
things up?
One of them is. I don't know about the other one. They didn't tell
Okay.
her. Tim Burrell, happy birthday on the 10th. And Margie Brown, happy birthday on the 12th. 80 years old, sent in by her daughter, Alice.
And from Mineral Bluff.
Mineral Bluff.
And who has a place they hang out in Mineral Bluff?
You.
And who's waiting on the dollar store to open? Yay, I'm so excited. Now we're going to talk about, tomorrow is my birthday, Doug. And I came in your place the other day and picked up a couple of pieces of jewelry that you'd repaired for me. And I thought, I don't have anybody special in my life right now, so nobody will be giving me a very fancy, nice birthday present. So I decided you could design me something.
Well, maybe we can.
So I've given you a couple of pieces of jewelry. They mean something to me because I collect Coca-Cola memorabilia. And they are both rings with Coca-Cola logos on it, and one has a ruby in it. Now, Coca-Cola, one is a President's Award ring, so I didn't want to destroy the value of that, but I'm not going to wear this big old gaudy ring. You know, that's pretty, and it's a man's ring, and there's, you know, so what would you do with that?
If it wasn't sentimental, I'd melt it down and sell the gold if it's real gold. But otherwise,
Yes, it's real gold.
Otherwise, I'd have him I'm just kidding you. Otherwise, I'd have him redesign it and do what you want.
Well,
with it.
that's what I was thinking. How about a necklace? And you said we could probably do that.
Yeah, it's very simple to turn a signet ring into a necklace. You know, if you want something real basic, not change it a lot, then you just take the shank off and smooth and flatten it on the back so it lays right, and just attach a bell of some kind to make it a very simple necklace. Some people, you know, will decorate with diamonds around or colored stones. According to how much money they've got to want to spend, and how much
Right.
they want to decorate it. But
Right.
do a lot of those with just real basics and just add a bell so that it doesn't really change the look of it that much.
Right. And I want to be able to wear it. I
Sure.
mean, it's been in my jewelry box for 20 some odd years. And there's nobody to give it to, nobody who cares about Coca-Cola except me. So, you know, I said, well. And then the other ring, you suggested, let's make a bracelet out of it.
Exactly. We can, you've given me this nugget bracelet that needs some work as well. we can work with that and attach the nugget. Something else we've done in the past with people's jewelry and or stones, if they like the slide bracelet look, we can buy a box that's made to attach things to and make a slide for it. If you've got a slide bracelet, or if you want to start a slide bracelet, you can do it that way as well, or just purchase a different kind of chain. There's a lot of ways. Signets are pretty easy to change into other pieces of jewelry just because of the way they're made, so it lends itself very easily to changing
And
over.
for 20 years, literally, they've been laying in my jewelry box because I kept thinking, sometime my husband didn't wear jewelry. He was a diesel mechanic, so he didn't wear rings.
Right.
And my son could care less about jewelry, and I have these, and I thought, tomorrow's my birthday, so you're going to redesign something for me just to give myself happy birthday to me.
There you go. And you'll have a lot of gold left over. You'll have probably more than enough to pay for the repairs.
And what about that bracelet? We were talking about, I can tell, I've worn it for almost 25 years. It has gotten loose, and it's gotten, I can tell it's bigger than it was when it started, and you were explaining that to me.
Obviously, through the years, the hinges and the pins both are wearing thinner and thinner. As they do, the bracelet does get a little bit longer. And you've got so many links here that each link is thinner, so it adds a decent amount of length, extra length to it. We're probably going to, in order to make it wearable for a long time to come, probably going to have to basically rebuild the whole hinge system in order to keep you from breaking it continually and possibly falling off and being lost sometime when you didn't realize it was broken. So
It's a pretty piece, though.
Yeah, well, the big
it's very
thing about
popular.
me is I wear jewelry every day. I don't take it off. I don't go home and take off my rings. I wear them every single day. Now, this is the last thing my husband bought for me, and he bought it at your place, and I never take it off. I just don't take it off. And I said, I like jewelry that's comfortable, so I want something. Now, let's talk about all the people today. You can go to a motel in Atlanta and sell your jewelry. People have gone crazy with marketing precious metals. Why?
Well, combination of the value is up. Raw gold is in the $850 range. It bounces back and forth.
And I can remember when it was $110.
Well, yeah. And for, just the past year and beyond before that, it stayed in the $350 range for several years.
Right.
So it's gone up. And of course, with the economy being down, people losing their jobs, people struggling to make ends meet, a lot of people have old jewelry that's just laying around. Now, if you've got jewelry that's wearable and you can sell it to the end user, you can get a lot more than I can pay you for it. I'm just buying the metal. I get paid on a percentage of the actual gold value, and that's what I'm paying, obviously a little less than I get paid, so that I make something on it too. So if you've got wearable jewelry and you can find somebody that wants it as a piece of jewelry, sell it to them, because you can get a lot more than any of us who are buying to scrap it out can pay. But we've paid several hundreds of dollars according to how much someone has. Of course, the more weight you've got and the higher the caratage, the more it's worth. But and there's been some people that have sold me complete jewelry that's sellable as jewelry. They just needed the money, and I made them an offer, and they said, I'm not going to take the time to try to sell it, to market it or whatever, and some people sell it anyway. But I always tell them in my shop, before I even tell them what I can give them, especially when they show me wearable jewelry, I said, if you can sell this as jewelry, you can get more than I can offer you. Well, tell me what you can pay me. And sometimes they take it, and sometimes they say, well, I'm going to see if I can sell it like it is. And I don't blame them. I mean, like I say, with the economy like it is, you've got to do the best for yourself that you can.
Well, I thought it was important to have you on today because on the radio, every single day, you hear ads, come to the Holiday Inn so-and-so, so-and-so, or come to the Ramada so-and-so. All these crazy people are setting up in motel rooms saying, bring us your gold and da-da-da-da-da. I would rather go. You've been in business over 30 years.
Over 50, 57
Over 50
this
years.
December, actually.
Okay, he's nearly as old as I am.
Not
for
me
goodness
personally, the
sake.
store.
Yeah.
I'm not quite 57
But
myself.
when you think about that, from Copper Basin to Ball Ground, we have jewelers who have been in business for years. I say go to your local reputable jeweler and do business with them, because it would make me nervous. Number one, I am not pulling up at a cheesy motel in Atlanta with the decals that are on my car, because everybody knows who I am, and I am not going to pull up in some cheesy motel and then somebody say, guess where I saw her car, So I just don't think you ought to do that. I think that you should choose, and most local jewelers are buying raw metal, right?
Exactly. Most of us are.
As a professional jeweler, what do you think about these ads you see on TV now, cash for gold? They want you to put your gold rings, your valuables, in a package and send them in the mail to somebody, I know what I think about that. What do you think?
Well, you know, you're always concerned. There's a lot of those folks out there that's just as honest as I am, and then there's some out there that are looking to rook you. I've had other jewelers, I'm a part of a buying group that sent some jewelry in, and they got paid like 1/5 of what they pay. They sent just a small amount to test them. So buyer beware on all of that stuff,
Right.
Especially if you don't know what you've got as far as carriage and weight. You don't know if you're getting a fair return or not. You know, those TV stations, you know, I see it a lot on TV. They don't give those ads away, so there's a pretty big cost for them to advertise as heavy as they do.
Right.
So, you know, they've got to make whatever margin they feel like they've got to make. So you just have to be careful. And again, you can call some better business bureaus or whatever if you want to go that route to see who's gotten good reports and who hadn't. But you have to be careful.
Now let's talk about people who have jewelry boxes with jewelry that could be redone, because you took my platinum watch and took out the antique insides, and you put me, what do you call it?
It's the quartz movement,
Okay.
the new movements that they're making. Some people don't want to do that, but it's an inexpensive way to have a nice, accurate running watch, and
Right.
it doesn't change the looks of the watch. You've still got the antique look.
Right.
And most of the time, I get the old movements back in case the customer ever wants to put it back in original shape.
And you gave me mine back.
Sure.
But the key is, what the dickens did I
What did you do
with
with
it?
That's always the
It's in your
downside
car.
of that.
That's the guy be in your car.
Oh no, that
Everything else is in your
4-carat
car.
ring you worked on last week is in my car and I can't find it. I
It's
was
in the
gonna wear
car.
it today.
It's
but-
under the
Look
seat.
for a black pouch.
Yeah, that's what I said. I looked this morning and I said, well, I know it's in here. It's in that black pouch.
Everything's in your car.
But why not? Why the economy is down and people are thinking about, I don't want to frivolously spend any money. So it was like me, I'd like to have something nice for my birthday. And there's nobody here to buy it.
You
So I
are-
thought, well, I'll just let you redesign something I already have.
You are the special person in your life.
Yes, that's right. No,
Well, again,
yeah.
you know, you're going to have a lot of gold left over because of the shanks. It's going to be more expensive to repair the bracelet well than it is to do the other two jobs. But you may have enough gold. You'll have enough gold to make a big dent in it now. So most everybody out there has half pair of earrings, broken chains, twisted herringbones that are unwearable.
Right.
So you can use that.
Are herringbones even made anymore?
There's a few. They're
were
not as
such a
popular and
pain.
used as
Oh,
much as,
my.
you know, made as much as they used to be, but there's still a few out there.
Well, they were the
But,
big deal about
oh, yeah.
20 years ago.
For a while, they were
Yeah.
the main chain being sold.
Is platinum still selling well?
Platinum is not as popular as it once was. For one day this past month, platinum was actually cheaper than gold.
Wow.
It's been
And that's-
real
that's
close
just-
for a long time. It was twice as much, and all of a sudden, bottom just dropped out of platinum.
That's hard to believe.
And it's just a little more expensive than gold now. Platinum jewelry is still more expensive because they use purer platinum than they do gold when they make jewelry. It's 90-something% pure in platinum, whereas gold's usually 58, 59% pure in 14-karat form. So platinum jewelry is still more expensive, but the gap has really closed in the difference in price in platinum and gold for whatever reason I don't understand.
Well, I love the little old filigree rings. And do families ever walk in and say, Mom passed away and we have this jewelry and none of us want it, we've picked out what we want? Do you ever luck up on people selling you beautiful estate pieces?
Occasionally I get a chance at an estate piece. Again, my cash flow has been a little tight like everybody else's, so a lot of times there's things I like to make an offer on that I just don't feel that I can. With gold, I can turn my gold into cash within a couple of days.
Right.
With stones, or if I'm buying something that I like, if I can get a good enough deal, then I'll buy it. But I don't see a lot of it. Again, I try to tell them to sell it as jewelry before they sell it to me for what I can offer them. But if they're willing to take my offer, I love the antique jewelry, the filigree, and that kind of thing. It's just
See,
one of my
I do
all-time
too. I said
favorites.
I always, when I'm around any older ladies, I always look at their jewelry because I said there's a story there, you know.
yeah.
And many of them, they're 20s rings, you know, and their watches, and that's what my watch looks like, and is it about a 20s watch?
20s or 30s, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, and I just love it. And every time I look down, I think some precious old lady really enjoyed that watch.
Sure.
And
Now,
I just love it.
for eternity, diamonds will always be popular. What are some of the hottest gemstones right now?
Well, the big ones, emeralds, rubies, sapphires, are always right up there too. It's not really a gemstone, but something that's been very popular for us recently is chocolate pearls. They're just freshwater pearls that have been dyed
Right.
shades of brown.
Right.
But browns are worn by
don't
everybody in the world
like
just
'em,
about.
see?
You like regular white pearl,
Isn't
right?
that, I've seen
Well,
so many
it's-
people who love those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they, like I say, they were the single most popular item in our store this past Christmas was chocolate pearls, whether earrings, bracelets, rings, strands, or whatever. We did a big
I think
business.
women should all have a nice strand of pearls.
Oh, sure.
My
I
wife
love
loves it.
pearls.
She
I
loves it.
love pearls, yeah.
She's got all the colors.
That's one
on
of
it.
those things. And now let's talk about caring for pearls
Mm-hmm.
because that's something I don't have my pearls on when I spray my hair. I'm
You
pretty
should-
cautious about
Your
it.
pearls should be the last thing you put on. Makeup, hairspray, all those things can affect not only the sheen of the pearl, but also increase the wear and tear on the pearls as you wear them. A lot of the makeups have some of the same components as buffing compound, which we use to polish the gold. So the pearl is formed in layers like an onion as the shellfish coats it with the nacre and everything. So they will, if you wear them long enough, you will wear the nacre off eventually. The better the pearl, the longer it takes that to happen. But the pearl should be the last thing you put on because of the things, the chemicals we put on our body and different things do have an adverse effect against the pearls. Talking about adverse effects, a lot of people aren't aware that Clorox and chlorine in any form is harmful to gold jewelry. It actually eats the alloy out of the gold.
Really?
So if you're cleaning with
Swimming?
Clorox, especially, well, swimming, obviously it's diluted, but anytime you're in a chlorine environment, hot
Okay.
tubs, swimming pools, you're doing small damage. The main culprit is pure Clorox or 50-50 Clorox. Cleaning with Clorox, bleach, and that kind of thing is very detrimental. Years ago, we saw an article in a jewelry magazine. They put white gold is worse than yellow. Put a white gold ring in pure Clorox, and in 24 hours it dissolved.
You're
Holy
kidding.
cow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
if you're in Clorox or chlorine, it's best not to have any of your jewelry on because, like I say, with pools and hot tubs, it's diluted, but it's still having an adverse effect on your jewelry.
What's the best way to clean our jewelry?
Well, at home, use a 50-50 base of ammonia and water on things that aren't real fragile. Pearls and things, just hand soap and water. Opals, emeralds you have to be careful with. There's a lot of jewels that are very fine, and you have to be careful how you treat them because they're so soft. But just ammonia and water helps keep the body oils and that kind of thing off the jewelry. Of course, you bring it to us, we polish it as well and give the gold a nice shine. You can't really do that at home. But
Let's talk about something that I learned a hard lesson on this year. I lost my purse. And in my purse were several pieces of jewelry. And I learned that on my insurance, I don't have replacement value. And I don't have stated value. How important is it to get an appraisal of your jewelry?
well, most insurance companies this day and time demand an appraisal.
Right.
You know, in years past when things were simpler and everything, they would take just a jeweler's stated value and that type of thing. But nowadays, most of them want an appraisal from a registered gemologist or a registered appraiser and that kind of thing. We do offer that service. I'm not a gemologist myself, but I have a gentleman that comes and picks things up. They do have to go out of the store, but he hand delivers. We don't have to worry about the mail. So most insurance companies demand that nowadays.
And I learned how important that was because I had no idea, you know. And literally, how many women stick jewelry in their pocketbook? I
100%.
don't anymore. I don't anymore. You know, it's either on my fingers or put somewhere.
But a lot of
because-
women keep it with them because they don't leave it at home in case somebody breaks into the home. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
You're talking about chlorine. How does salt water affect certain jewelry?
I don't think salt water is a problem. I mean, there's some abrasiveness that, you know, on some of the softer stones possibly, but again, if you're just in the ocean for a few hours at a time,
I asked that for a
nothing,
reason. Yeah.
nothing like chlorine.
Well, I have a saltwater pool. And I have a sterling silver bracelet that had
Well, sterling silver is another story.
Exactly. Well, my sterling silver is now black.
Yeah.
I went in the saltwater pool, and I just gotten this bracelet for Mother's Day, and it had a Bible verse on it, and I just loved this bracelet. And I get out of the pool, and I looked down, and I said, oh, my gosh, it was black.
Yeah.
So,
Generally, it's a pretty easy cleanup. Some of the nooks and crannies can be difficult, but we've got a real good one-dip cleaner that slosh around for 30 seconds. Usually, we'll get rid of most of the tarnish. Sometimes you got to attack it with elbow grease and silver polish, but most of the time, the one-dip cleaner will take care of it if it's not been on for years at a time.
let me ask you about something, because pawn shops have become a big thing. when we had some things stolen years ago, actually a few items were found in a pawn shop. If somebody comes to you and I walk in and I have my jewelry box with my personal things to sell, how do you know they're my personal things? How do you know they're not stolen?
Well, you don't always know, and we do everything we can for the people that we don't know. Obviously, if you're a customer, been a customer for years, we've got a rapport.
You figure I haven't been crawling in windows.
Yeah, we figure.
You're going to figure.
You know, and then there's certain things we
maybe.
got to do according to the law. You know, for folks we don't know, we take ID, we get a signature, and do everything that we can to protect the people out there. We're not looking to buy anything stolen at any price,
Right.
no matter how cheap it is,
Right.
because that just perpetuates the criminals. You know, if the criminals didn't have anywhere to sell their merchandise, then there would be no need for them to steal anything because they wouldn't have any way to get rid of it.
Right.
But you do everything you can, and still, sometimes you slip up. Somebody does something, you know, somebody you've known for years maybe does something, and they're in a hard time, and they do something they wouldn't normally do, and you've known them, and you think you know them.
Right.
And you buy something. But again, we've got addresses and phone numbers and, you know, driver's license numbers as far as all that goes, and do everything, you know, that the pawn shops are required basically anytime we buy whole jewelry. If it's broken jewelry, you know, who's stealing broken jewelry, you know?
Right,
But,
right.
well, this day and time, probably anything you
If
can
they
find.
want, if
Right.
they want illegal drugs, they'll steal anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
really
But
will.
we do everything we possibly can to safeguard and to know that, you know, what we're buying is not stolen. But, you know, criminals, there's some smart criminals out there, and they can beat the system. You know, people a lot smarter than me get beat by them. So
Yeah.
you just do everything you
Well,
can
it's
to
scary because
safeguard.
if you're a pawn shop owner, and what if you owned a local pawn shop and somebody walked in and you paid them, say, $800 for a bunch of jewelry, and then a week later the police come in with a police report like they did with ours, does that shop owner lose their money?
I don't know if there's
How
any
does that
restitution
work?
available. If there's any restitution available, and I don't know the laws because I'm not in the pawn shop business, but if there's any restitution, it'd be with the criminal working while he's in jail, working it off that way. Obviously, anything that's reclaimed is given back eventually. It's a long process because it's got to go through the courts and everything. But again, pawn shops are regulated very stringently. And again, like any other business, there's honest pawn shop dealers and there's crooks. And,
Right.
you just have to try to know who you're dealing with.
Are you seeing any gold and silver coin coming through your shop?
A little bit. Again, most of the coins are old, and if they can sell them to a coin dealer or someone who collects coins, they can get more than I can afford to give them.
Right.
Did you hear the story about me and the 1909 SVDB penny? Well, he collects coins. And when I was a child, popsicles and hunkies were 5 cents. And we had 5 kids. And Mama would leave us a quarter. And one day Mama left us a quarter, and the ice cream man came around, but popsicles had gone up to 6 cents. So we found the 4 pennies we needed for the 4 of the siblings, and then Daddy had a 1909 SVDB penny in his jewelry box. So that bought my creamsicle that day. Boy, you talk about a whooping. And today its value is about $5,000.
But you know that.
That was a really good
You
creamsicle.
thought ice cream man, he just probably spent it somewhere else,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
was
out in
gonna say.
circulation somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
finally realized
Yeah.
what it was, but
Oh, man, you talk about in trouble. Was I in trouble?
Well, that's the way
Well,
it goes.
today's economy makes a lot of people nervous.
Sure.
And I want to encourage people not to give away their treasures. You know, how do you know today what the market is on gold? Do you get up every morning and look?
we've got a website that we plug into every day. That during the week it's not active on the weekend. So on Saturday we're just going by the closing price Friday. But it's active all during business days during the week. So it's changing, you know, some every day. It's up and down $20 or so during a normal day, and then of course something happens and it jumps or it drops more drastically. But you know, in a given day, it'll go up $10 or $20 back and forth. You know.
Well, since silver doubled and almost tripled, you seen a rise in people wanting to buy and sell silver?
Silver, I don't usually buy it unless they've got a ton of it because it's so much less in raw silver than the price of gold that it just takes so much more to make anything off of it. So I rarely even make an offer on silver just because you have so much for so little return. So
Do you remember when everybody had, and I know your mother had one of these, there's no doubt your mother had one of these, a silver tea service.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now, and a sterling silver tea service. I remember when silver went to $50-something an ounce.
The Hunt brothers
I
drove it crazy.
I took my silver set to Tommy Massey's jewelry store up in Jasper, and I sold my silver set. Well, I didn't use it, and I was so tired of polishing that sucker I could scream, and it was
Exactly.
sterling silver. And when it was a ridiculous price, he gave me this big price for this tea set I'd haven't been polished all these years,
Right.
and I thought, yay!
Yeah. And again, that was mid to late 70s.
Exactly.
And people were selling their silver, and again, people were stealing silver to sell. You
Oh,
know,
yes,
and
yes.
we saw a lot of it. At that time, we were buying hardly anything like that. It was a hard time to be in business because sometimes you'd sell a piece of gold jewelry because gold was going up too. And then you go to replace it and it cost you more than you sold it for because you weren't paying close enough attention. So eventually you had to go to a price per weight situation so you were protecting yourself. But it was a tough time to be in retail business because of the volatility of the market and everything. So,
Let's talk about diamonds. What are they doing?
well, diamonds have stayed, pretty stable. They're constantly inching up a little and, the economy plays a big part in that. But De Beers, who is the main price driver in the market, does a good job of keeping the prices steady and not allowing them to go down. Like I say, they'll inch up if it's a bad economy, but you rarely ever see the price of diamonds actually drop.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a good thing. So,
It's
now-
always going to be there too. I
Oh,
bet.
yeah, yeah. And let's talk about with diamonds, what are the logos? I mean, your commercial, and I love your commercial. That is so funny. Who came up with that commercial?
You talking about the Shop Keys Jewelry, She'll Love You For It?
Yes.
I came up with that one actually. So,
Okay, and who came up with the one where he can't find the ring at dinner?
oh well, now we bought those commercials.
Okay.
Again, I belong to a jewelry buying group, and there's an excellent company there that does commercials and then just tags them with our stuff. And my daughter was actually tagged one of them herself.
I thought she was.
But that's
yeah.
professionally done from someone. I don't even know, they're up in the Northeast, but we have access to them because the organization we're a member of, and they do an excellent job. They do a great commercial.
But we remember diamond logos. We remember diamond sayings. We remember, what is keepsake? When I was a
Yeah.
teenager, everybody
Keepsake
had to
used to
have.
be a big player.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we remember that, and those are things, it's important when you're making a purchase of a lifetime to remember and to feel comfortable about it and to feel good about it
Sure.
and to know that that ring is what it should be and that it is stated. Now, do you do trade-ins if somebody buys something from you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Anytime in diamond jewelry, I can't afford to do it in color stone, but in diamond
Right.
jewelry, we require, like most stores, we require you to trade up double the retail value, and then we give you what you paid as long as the stone is not damaged in any way. So yeah, we can always grow you a bigger stone if that's what you want to do. Certainly can.
Don't give her any ideas.
No, well, I decided at my age, I don't need anything else. That's why I think
Well, you were
it's important.
29, right?
Yeah.
Or will be
yeah.
29.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can't wait till you redesign these. Now, let's talk about, this is my original wedding ring. And this is my mom's engagement diamond. And then it's part of the gold for mother's ring. I had this wedding band laying in my jewelry box doing nothing.
Right.
And we're not going to tell the whole story because a lot of people don't know, but my husband was not happy when I did this. But I just thought it made sense. I didn't wear this ring, and it was my wedding band, and he'd bought me another one. So it just made perfect sense to me. It did not make good sense to him. He was one mad little man.
Yeah.
Ooh, he was ill. But I love this, and I wear it all the time now, and it's an iron skillet with my mom's diamond in it. So I took actually 3 pieces of jewelry and had the iron skillet made.
It's actually a gold skillet.
Yes, it is a gold skillet instead of an iron skillet. And it has a fried egg in it. But I thought that was so creative, and I wear it all the time, and I love it. So if people have maybe their mom's ring, and they already have their own wedding rings, it's a great idea to take mom's engagement ring and put it in something that you wear all the time.
Sure, and a lot of people do that. Is one of the big things about jewelry is it's sentimental. Now, like your husband, a lot of people don't want to change
What he
it
said
is.
was, if I'd have wanted you to wear a frying pan, I'd have bought a dadgum frying pan.
Exactly. So,
Makes sense.
it's according to how you feel about it. Again, a lot of people remount the special jewelry, and we have the capabilities through an outside source. I don't have a big enough store to do the casting and everything in-house, but again, we've got an arrangement where we pick up and deliver ourselves. It doesn't have to go through the mail. where we can even carve a design if need be. A lot of things that are basic, you know, we can find molds out there and things to cast from a wax. But some people don't want to change the original very much. Something we've done through the years with old wedding sets, a couple of different things. Sometimes if the band doesn't have any stones, we shape it into a heart and then use the center stone from the engagement ring, drop it in the center to make a heart necklace. My wife, we just took the center stone out of her original engagement ring and just made a very simple pendant out of it. The other thing sometimes we'll do is using all parts of the ring. We'll use half a shank to make a kind of a upside down horseshoe, and then if both rings have several diamonds in it, solder those across and just make a pendant where you still have the original look of the wedding set into a pendant. And then, like you say, some people just want something totally new created using the metal and the stones into something totally different. Still have all the original metal and stones there to keep it sentimental for that reason. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of things that can be done based on which direction you want to take it.
Yeah, and don't panic, and I worry about people in hard economic times giving things away. You know, well, I just need $40, I need $50.
And they do.
Find somebody who's fair and says, no, I'm not going to melt it down. And like you've said, if it's a piece of jewelry that's a beautiful piece of jewelry, try to find a way to market it as a piece of jewelry, not just scrap.
I just thought of something, though. He said
What?
he's got a wife. Can you imagine being a wife and your husband is a jeweler?
No.
Can you imagine
I've
that?
always wanted to be married to a jeweler. I
mean,
never have,
think
but
about-
I've always wanted to.
Think about the pulling and tugging you're doing. Hey, honey, would you? Hey, honey, would
Yeah,
you?
could I wear that 4-carat solitaire to the party tonight?
How much trouble do you have out of that?
Well, my wife's very
Conservative.
conservative.
She is.
She's got a lot of jewelry.
She is, and
I
she
try to
loves
keep
my watch.
I try, yeah, we've tried to buy that watch a time or two. Finally got you to wear it a little bit, though. So.
I have, Doug, you'll be so proud of me. I have worn it every day except today because I'm going to give you this one to take back and work on. But I knew if I didn't wear this one, I would forget to give it to you. But I do love my diamond watch, but I felt, and this is funny, as you get older, I felt that diamond watch was for special occasions. Every day of my life is a special occasion.
There you go.
And that's exactly the attitude I have. So starting January the 1st, I have worn it every day since I picked it up, and I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
But
Well,
so she don't come in and just your wife don't come in and say, hey, I want to try that for a day, you know, and wear that.
no, we don't do that.
Kind of like car dealers would do with a car, you know.
Yeah, in our mind, if it's worn a full day, then it's used.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to clean something up and sell it as new if it's been used. But I do try to keep my ears open because she won't say a lot of what she wants because she knows if I know it, then the next
You will.
occasion I'll get it for her. So she's real careful about saying anything around me, but sometimes she speaks around my sister who works with us and whatever, so I've got my ways of finding out what she really loves that we bought. And she gets a lot of jewelry. She doesn't get jewelry for every occasion, but she certainly gets a lot of jewelry.
It's a good thing you didn't marry a jeweler.
No, but she's
Golly.
like me. She likes old jewelry.
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
she loves-
And
she
see,
loves the old
I
jewelry.
love the look of the old jewelry.
Well, she's got several pieces that we've been able to buy through the years and, that she wears, pins and rings and things. Of course, you know, she mixes and matches with what she's wearing and everything. She's got a lot of color stones. She's gotten where she likes the big color stones. She says the older I get, the gaudier I get. So, and she's not that old, but still, that's the way she says it. So.
Well, I have my favorite ring, and I was devastated when my purse got gone because I thought this ring was in it. Well, I went home and I found it. It's an anniversary ring with just 3 simple stones in it, but it was bought from a lady in her 80s, passed away in Fort Lauderdale. And I was lucky enough to get this ring. Well, it is yellow gold, which is rare because most of the older stuff, but it's 18 karat yellow gold. And it is my favorite piece. And I said, I've thought and thought and thought about that ring. When I leave this world, you don't want to take your jewelry with you, you know, but I love that ring. And I kind of like when I walk those streets of glory, I might like to have that ring.
Well, nowadays when people leave this world, they want to take their cell phone with them. That's what they're so used to. You know.
See if they make a call back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be out of
Service, yeah.
Well, Doug, Keys has been in business 50-some-odd years. You have been in downtown Canton
All that time.
all that time, and it is wonderful to pull up and still have a local business that's been there that long. Yesterday we were talking about Worley shoes, and we used to think that your shoes had to come Worley's, and we shopped there. We would shop on this side of the street and this side of the street, and we'd get our shopping done. Things have changed in downtown Canton, haven't
Considerable.
they?
You know, I came in the store right out of high school in '74, and even then and for several years thereafter, downtown Canton was still the place to shop.
Oh, yes.
Of course, then Kmart came in, Walmart came in, the shopping centers began to pop up here and there, and several of the merchants thought that that was the thing to do, was to leave and go to those places. Some of them survived, some of them didn't. We're now the oldest jewelry store in the county, have been for several years. And, you know, we're kind of a destination for downtown. People come downtown to visit us and to shop with us. And you know, people are learning about us through word of mouth all the time. Certainly that's the best advertising in the world, because you can't buy it. People recommend us, and we're seeing new customers all the time. Still, you know, we wish there was more retail downtown, and the city continues to work toward that end, but
Well,
we need
R&M
more
Hoagie
retail.
Shop is still there.
They've been there for years. They were
40 years?
thereabouts, yeah, because they started late in my grammar school years, so yeah, around 40 years.
So there's still a couple of you who have hung in there and made it.
Chamber House, now the Chamber's been in business downtown for years in different venues, but the Chamber House, the people that own the Chamber House have been in business in Canton for 30 or 40 years as well.
Tell me about the new building going beside the Chamber House.
Well, finally, you know, that lot's been for sale forever, and finally somebody's putting in a, hopefully, retail/business office place. There's going to be, I think, 3 stories available, great atrium and everything. I've seen the artwork, and it's going to be a beautiful building. And, you know, they've got the skeleton up now, and it's really beginning to see some improvements there. So they're excited. The owner was in the other day in the store and talking about it. So he's really excited, beginning to see some progress. And it'd be great to have a building there instead of what we used to call the hole.
Right. Well, I think it's important that we maintain the small towns. I mean, Fannin County's done a great job. Copper Basin has some vacancies in some buildings now, which is a little unnerving, but it is also tough times.
Sure.
And
It's
so
real
I
tough.
say if we can get through March, I say it's going to be a great spring.
Well, you know, we joked in the store about running an ad that says if you don't shop with Keys Jewelry this Christmas, you might not get to next year.
Oh, wow.
But the point is, if you've got small, independently owned businesses that you enjoy doing business with, please make an extra effort to do business with them, because, you know, we're in danger more than anybody else. We don't have the big corporations behind us to keep us going. So if you appreciate any small business, restaurant, store of any kind, that's independent, and you like doing business with them, please make that extra effort to continue to do business with them when you need something that they offer, to keep them there, because a lot of them are going by the
Well, I'll
wayside.
tell you something. I'm not a great landlord. I had some rental property one time, and I'm like the biggest sucker that ever lived, because I fall for a hook, line, and sinker. But if you're a landlord and you see that your tenants are struggling through January, February, cut them a deal.
Sure.
Give them 2 months free rent, because come March, when things come back, do you want to evict them and then in 2 months say, I've got this sign up, been up 3 months now, who am I going to rent to? If you have a business that's been there a while, so, you know, I'm sure landlords don't like the idea I have, but I think it's better to maintain that stability.
Yeah, well, that's the way
It's
I've
kind of
always
a
felt.
deal,
You know,
yeah.
I've got upstairs and a small building beside me, and, you know, I'd rather be getting something a month and having somebody in there, because it keeps the building in better shape than having it sit vacant. But, you know, some guys are going to get their price, or they're going to sit on it. And, you know, I've never understood that, but then I've never been in a position where it didn't matter whether I rented or not. So I'm with you. I'd rather cut a deal, give them a month off or whatever it needs to do to keep them in business and keep them paying me rent whenever, you know.
Right. Can you repair an Accutron watch?
I have people that do that for me. My
Okay.
grandfather and my father both did watch repair. I don't.
Okay.
But the people that we use, Keys has been doing business since before I came in the store, so over 35 years.
Okay.
Didn't need them for watch repair because we did it in-house, but these people do it. Now, Accutrons are kind of expensive to work on because the parts are hard to come by and everything. Average price for an Accutron repair is between $200 and $400. If it needs parts. Now, if just service will get it by, then you get it done for $100 or $100
Let me ask you something. Is Accutron the one that we can buff the crystal and polish
Most
it?
of the Accutrons have the old plastic crystals and can be buffed. Matter of fact, I bought an Accutron recently off of a lady whose husband had passed away, and he had bought that Accutron from my grandfather years before.
Oh, wow.
So I bought it and cleaned it up, and I'm wearing it. I wore it yesterday to church, as a matter of fact. But that's one of my prized possessions because I knew my grandfather sold it to this gentleman to start with. So it's really cool. I've got 2 Accutrons. My grandfather had a solid gold one that he gave me too. So
And
I've got 2 that still run.
And how about Rolex? You do any business with
Rolex, again, if you're the kind of person who's got to have the certificate stamped, my guys are qualified, they're not certified. So I do Rolex repair through these folks. Save you a couple $100 over a certified, but for the person who's kept their certificate updated continually, I can't do that.
Now, see, I have never, Lord knows I want diamonds. I have never wanted a Rolex watch. Isn't that interesting?
Well, some people.
Yeah, some people
that's
would
their,
just die for
you know,
one.
if I can ever afford a Rolex, I've
Yeah.
made it. And
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
people, it's just not their thing.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Well,
know.
you know why I
Buy
think
on
that
eBay.
is? What is Cherie time? It's always 10 minutes off. So, so that may be why I don't care anything about accurate times.
It's, you know.
Well, for
Each his
folks
own.
who don't know, Keith's Jewelry is located right downtown. What's your physical address?
230 East Main Street, Canton, Georgia.
Well,
Historic
and there's
downtown.
so many jewelers from Ducktown to Ball Ground, jewelers who've been in business a long time, and I think that's important. Check out somebody who's been in business a while. Check out somebody you trust, but don't go to these motels that are advertising buy your gold.
Friendly Freddy.
You ain't gonna see my
Got his
car
trunk
at
open.
Sleazy Motels.
Remember
It's
on
not
Gomer
fair.
Pyle, he bought him from Friendly Freddy
Yeah.
out the back of his car.
Well, right now we're going to go to a break, and actually we're going to the community calendar. And let me tell you something. After the community calendar, you know the gentleman who's coming on.
Yes, ma'am.
He has driven a bus 56 years, longer than anybody in the state of Georgia. Can you imagine putting up with them whiny kids for 56 years?
No, ma'am, I can't.
Well, we're going to get to meet him in just a minute, but right now we're going to go to today's community calendar is brought to you by the Blue Star Supermarket in Jasper, the best prices in town where yes, I can shop blindfolded.
You gotta leave me now. You got to go alone. You gotta chase a dream, one that's all your own before it slips away. When you're flying high, take my heart along. I'll be the harmony to every lonely song that you learn to play. When you're soaring through the air, I'll be your solid ground. Take every chance you dare, I'll still be there when you come back down. When you come back down. I'll keep looking up, awaiting your return. My greatest fear will be that you will crash and burn, and I won't feel your fire. I'll be the other hand that always holds the line, connecting in between your sweetheart and mine. I'm strung out on that wire, and I'll be on the other end to hear you when you call. Angel, you were born to fly, and if you get too high, I'll catch you when you fall. Catch you when you fall.
Okay, tomorrow is my birthday,
It
and
is.
everybody knows I'm looking for an older man. Well, I found one, and I didn't ask, are you married?
Oh, yes.
Oh, darn it. Well,
We
here goes another one.
celebrated-
Maybe she don't mind sharing.
We celebrated our 58th anniversary December the 17th.
And I will
Wow.
be 58 tomorrow, but you have been driving a school bus in the state of Georgia almost as long as I am old. Now, Mr. Dickerson, that is a long time.
It's by 6 years above anybody else, what anybody else has ever done
That's
in
the
Georgia.
epitome of patience.
Well, we're going to let you do the birthdays right quick.
We got a bunch of them here. Madison and Mackenzie Mays on the 12th. Happy birthday. And Carl Kelly from Sister Barbara, who loves him very much. Ball Ground. Happy birthday to
Do you
Carl
know
Kelly.
him, Carl Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Richard Deitweiler on the 13th from his grandson Andrew.
Andrew Laminack.
Laminack.
Andrew's
Yeah.
my buddy.
And Earlene Millsap says oldies. Happy
Oldie.
birthday. Love your sister, Connie. And Michael Lowry, happy birthday on the 12th. And Cherie Martin on the 13th tomorrow from your little buddy, Andrew Laminack. Happy
how
birthday to
sweet.
Cherie Martin.
Well, tomorrow is going to be my birthday party in Jasper, and when I was talking to you the other night, I realized that you really have been driving a bus almost as long as I am old.
Yeah.
Now, talk about the difference in what you can do and what you can't do when you first started, because my husband drove a bus. And they gave him the meanest kids and the roughest route, and he could keep them in line by so many rules, so many regulations, so many things have changed.
Well, everything has changed several times. There's nothing as constant as change. And of course, some people think that change is progress. It's not always
Not
progress.
Always.
But no, it has changed so completely, there's just no comparison. When I started driving a bus, the children were little adults. They was always yes, sir,
And
please,
acted properly.
thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
And they acted properly. And if they didn't, there was a big old paddle up there behind the mirror, and we used it. And
And if they got in trouble on the bus, did they get in worse trouble at home when
They
you told their
did.
parents?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. And that's-
Exactly.
it was the same way when I went to school. If we got a paddling at school, if we could possibly do so, we'd keep it a secret.
Oh, yes.
Because
oh, yes.
we'd get more when we got home.
Betcha.
If we didn't. But of course, everything has changed now, and I guess you have to do it by diplomacy more than
Right.
ever before,
Right.
which maybe is a good idea. I don't know.
No.
Well, let's talk about something else. Doug Key knew that you taught driver's ed in school for what, 35 years?
22 years.
22 years.
I taught school for 35 years.
Okay.
And I retired in '86 when Governor Joe Frank Harris did away with driver education statewide. I would have taught on for
Why
5
did they do away with it?
politics. That's all,
Because I know I would much rather my child have gotten it in school. Number one, it's something that I don't have to take time out of my crazy
Right.
busy day to go do,
And pay
because
extra
he
for it.
does it as a class. And you do it now. Your school is in Cherokee County?
Yes, a mile south of town on Highway 140.
Okay.
We have our
But I
biggest
wish they'd
office.
kept it in the schools.
Well,
Is there
the-
any way to get it back?
I'm sure there is, and a lot of counties still have it. Pickens County still has it. Never has, well, they gave it up for 10 years, from '86 to '96. It was
But there's
done away with
limited,
statewide.
there's limited
it's-
capacity is the problem.
it's hard to get in there.
Yes,
There
it's hard to
is,
get in, yeah.
but the high schools are the most efficient and the most effective place to teach driver education.
Right.
And I know they had an article in the Cherokee Tribune about 2 weeks ago. There is a lot of demand for it to come back. But the person that wrote this article said it was costing the county $100,000 per year per school
Really?
to have it. When I taught driver education, we had a superintendent that was anti-driver education. He was always whining about just look at all that gas you're wasting. And so he had me do a study, a complete statistical study of all the expenses and everything. And my result is that it was costing $19.95 per student, taking less than 2 gallons of gasoline per student. We operated normally with about 6 or 7 cars, which were furnished at that time free of charge by the dealers.
Right.
They were
The dealers in Jasper still do that.
They furnished our cars some. The Ford place and the Chevrolet place both furnished our cars at Cherokee High at times. But the average insurance savings alone comes out to $699.50.
Right, that's why I told my son I want him to take driver's ed, because I need it on our insurance.
Sure.
Now, right now, we've got to take a break, and we're going to go to the obituaries, and when we come back from the obituaries, then we're going to meet a gentleman, Rich Scott, who's going to tell us a little bit about what he's got on trading time. I'm interested to see if he has more diamonds, because, I'm diamond crazy.
Oh, boy.
We're going to take a break and go to the obituaries. Stay there. are brought to you by Logan Funeral Home and Chapel in LJ, where we listen to what you have to say. You are important. Don't you go away. You sit back and relax, because Mr. Dickerson has got 56 years to talk about, guys. Don't you go away.
Time highs on Friday only in the 20s. Maybe you need some help staying warm. Well, Trading Time can help. We've got fireplace inserts, gas logs, kerosene heaters, even a buck stove or two. Or maybe you need some firewood or some hay from your horses. They're just some of the items you'll find today on our Trading Time website. I'm Rich Scott, your host. Join me this morning live at 11 with encore broadcast at 5:30 p.m. and at 12 midnight here on ETC3. Call in your items during our live broadcast or go shop online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the Trading Time website, where you do place to find a bargain in the North Georgia mountains and the Copper Basin. We'll be looking for you later today right here on ETC3. Please join us. Right now, back to Cherie Martin and North Georgia Now Today.
I guarantee you it's colder where Rich lives than it is where I live, because he is way up in the mountains in Copper Hill, Tennessee. You know, it is amazing to me how many items he's gotten on Trading Time. Have you got anything you'd like to trade in? Do you know that we sell things on ETC now?
Well, I probably have a lot of things I need to trade in or give away or give to Goodwill.
School bus.
Yeah. You got another birthday?
Ah, you got another one came in. It's a belated birthday on the first. Tammy Payne, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
New Year's Day. Yep.
Happy birthday. Now let's talk about the differences in the kids today, because nobody had iPods when you started driving a bus. Nobody had
Cell phones.
cell phones. Now, do you allow cell phones on the bus?
We're not supposed to.
Okay.
The county board has a strict rule against any electronics of that type. But they would have to have about 2 monitors on
Right.
every bus to control all the regulations that they have. And of course, like I tell the children on the bus sometimes, contrary to general belief, I do have to take a look at the road every 10 or 15 minutes while I'm driving.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't control everything. You just try to keep from anybody getting injured or mistreated.
Have you had the same route?
Same route for all those years.
And what is the route?
It's a ball ground elementary.
Okay.
And basically it's the same route. However, it's been subdivided several times, but I'm still running the same road and the same families. I can count 4 generations in some families that I've
Wow.
transported.
Now let's talk about accidents on buses. On Yellow Creek Road a few years ago, children were getting off a bus and somebody caused a horrific wreck and killed a child. How in the world, when you see cars driving erratically, driving too fast, doing crazy things, do you call and report them?
Sometimes. And of course, if we can get their tag number, we have a form that we fill out on them, a tag number and a description of the car and the driver if possible. Some of the buses now in Cherokee County have cameras that the driver can get a picture of the tag number of the cars as they go by the bus. And it happens every week.
It's amazing.
It's just a matter of time.
You know, it kills me if there's a stop sign out there on that school bus. You're supposed to stop, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Well, I see people who don't.
They don't. And of course, one of the big problems is I think we need cameras on all the buses. We have surveillance cameras on all the buses for security reasons and to confirm what the driver turns in on a misbehaving student and things like that. But we, I think, need more of that type of thing in order to enforce safety for the buses. And we're not supposed to, in most cases, let children cross the road. If we have to drive that road twice, we'll let them off on their own side, because the only 2 children killed in the Cherokee County transportation system have been children who were crossing the road. And so if you stay away from that, you're probably diminishing the chances 90%, maybe more than 90%.
And I have been guilty of this. The other day I left going somewhere and I was on Cherie time, which is usually I'm 10 minutes pushing it, and I get behind a school bus. And I'm thinking, dummy, you know to plan things differently. It is very important that as we approach a school bus, we slow down. So plan your day to not be on the road during school bus routes.
Yeah, I teach all my driving students, when they see a school bus, cut their speed in half, because it's going to be stopping. And when the school bus puts on its yellow flashers, you can't tell which one of those 13 driveways it's going to stop at in the afternoons when there are no children standing out there. So I teach them to cut their speed in half and just plan to stop. Just like if you're approaching a stale green light, plan to stop. Then if you don't have to, feel like you got a bonus that time.
I've noticed too over the years they've changed the design of school buses. They've made the hoods more sloped where you can see better. Do you like the newer designs on school buses? They seem to help.
They give you better visibility, and that's what they're designed for, because one of the 2 children killed in Cherokee County was killed by the bus driver.
Couldn't see the kid.
Because couldn't see the kid. He dropped his coat or books and bent down to pick them up.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember
And that's
that.
another reason they put those big old wand bars out in front
That's
too.
supposed to make them go far enough in front to be able to see them at all.
That'd just be some hard kind of stuff to live with, wouldn't it?
Right, right. But how many kids have you developed personal relationships with that you can't wait to see in Walmart, to see in the grocery store, and they can't wait to see you?
Oh, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, yeah.
I have taught driving to hundreds of thousands. A year or so ago, one of the daddies asked me when I picked up a new driving student for the first lesson, he said, now I want you to tell me, have you taught thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions? I said, well, I hope to teach millions, but I'm still in the 100,000 range at the time.
Now, what does it cost for a child to go to driving school now that they've taken it out of the schools in Cherokee County, which I don't agree with. I think it should be in schools, but I also understand at Pickens there's a waiting list, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, we get a lot of students in our driving school, in the Dickerson driving school. We get a lot from Pickens County.
What's the cost?
If you take the basic course, 30 and 6, it's about $500. If you take the master program, which is 30 and 20, includes defensive driving and interstate driving, it's about $1,000.
Okay.
And
you'd save that in less than 2 years on your insurance?
yeah, it cut for 3 years. And of course, we teach the defensive driving courses to adults, people of all ages, and that cuts everybody's insurance for 3 years.
Reckon my driving would scare Mr. Dickerson to death.
It scares me to death. I know it scared him to death. My goodness.
Well, my son got his learner's license the other day. Now, he's been racing on NASCAR tracks for over a year, but he just got his learner's license. He failed not the driving test, he failed the written test 3 times.
Oh, no.
Then he made 100, and I said, well, dadgummit, that means you studied finally. So there are new road signs that we have to learn. There are new laws, and one of the laws I learned something about this year was, and I actually got a ticket for it, and I argued it, and I paid an attorney to go to court over it, because it says if a policeman is on the side of the road writing a ticket, then you should slow down or change lanes. Well, I slowed down to 35 because I couldn't change lanes because the other lane was full. And I still got a $500 ticket. So there are new laws in place all the time. How important is it to keep up with new laws?
Very important. It saves you a lot of money, a lot of time. But
And 3 trips to court.
right, and I know a lady that got a ticket just like you did. she was coming up 75. She'd been to Florida and was coming back and saw the police had somebody pulled over, and she couldn't get over. But and I teach my students, cut your speed in half.
I slowed to 35.
And she slowed. She couldn't get over.
Right.
And he ran her down and gave her a ticket for $800.
I've read that book, wrote that story, got that same award.
$800.
And so she's also in the Cherokee Community Chorale. My wife and I are original members of the Cherokee Community Chorale. We do basically 5 major concerts a year. And this year, the chorale will be represented in Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
Several of the members are going. My wife and I can't afford it, but several of the members are going for that. But anyway, we always try to, I told this lady that what I would do is get me a lawyer and take it to court.
I did that.
She did, and she beat it. She didn't.
I
have
got
to pay
mine
anything.
reduced. Yes, I got it
Well-
reduced, but it cost so much with the attorney, but I still
Mm-hmm.
didn't want points on my license for something that I didn't think was right.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Because down to
move over.
35 to me is like you're not going anywhere, and I dropped
much.
down to
It
35.
is for you, yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, about a little over a year ago, that bus accident where the students from up north were killed in Atlanta, where they ran over the ramp. And
Right.
How did you feel about that? What ran through your mind?
Well, anytime you have a non-standard interchange,
Exactly.
you got a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem. The thing that caused that one was a non-standard
Mm-hmm.
interchange. If that had been standard, those people would have never.
Right.
First time I ever saw that
Experienced
ramp,
that.
I thought to myself, I ran up on that area and I thought, that is strange. Very strange. It's just not, like you said, it's non-standard.
And in the middle of the night, the driver and his wife lost their life.
They did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, has your wife ever driven a school bus?
Oh, no.
No.
No, and she didn't drive when we were married, and I didn't teach her.
Wow.
See how smart I am?
Well, congratulations on being the longest, you've made it, where other people have not made it, 56 years.
Well, people ask me a lot of times to what I attribute my good health at my advanced age. I'm 81.
I didn't ask your age.
I'm 81 years old.
Okay.
I'm proud of every year of it.
Okay.
And people ask me a lot of times that question, to what do you attribute your good health at such an advanced age? Tell them, well, I've never done anything stressful.
Never done anything
Never.
Boy,
stressful.
that's an oxymoron right there.
Never have. I mean, on the bus, basically, I'm just one of the kids. I just see if I can get a little bit sillier than they can get.
You can't be
I
proud of
enjoy
that.
them. I do it for the kids. Children are the most genuine people in the world. You know
Right.
that.
They are.
That's
They
right.
are.
That's
They
right.
tell it like it is.
They
And
just,
out of the mouths of babes comes some strange and crazy things.
and just for example, on one of the Christmas cards that I got from one of my high school girls, she said, "To my amazing and wonderful school bus driver." Well, now that's worth a year's salary
Oh,
right
yes,
there.
absolutely.
kidding.
There's no amount of money could buy that. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, you've got a couple more birthdays.
Where are all these people getting born in January?
don't
I tell you
know.
what. All right, on the 12th of January, Kenneth Davis he's called the Daylily Man.
Okay.
Happy birthday, 83 years old.
83, he's older than you.
And we have another one here on
Tyler
the 12th.
Weaver.
Age
I
16,
can't
Tyler
believe
Weaver.
Tyler is 16. That means he's going to be driving too.
Your bucket's getting full today.
My
It's only
bucket's getting
Monday.
full. Well, I hope that people will stop and shake your hand and congratulate you. That is amazing to be 56 years driving a bus. Now, let me ask you about your salary, and then we're going to be out of time. But tell me what your salary has gone from to.
It started out at $35 a month, and now it's with so many deductions, our insurance and everything, it's probably on up around $1,200, something like that, before deductions.
And worth every red cent.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
absolutely. And of course,
Because you are responsible for a lot of lives.
and when I started, you only got paid for the months you had school, and of course, then for many years we get it divided out into 12
months.
monthly payments. And of course, one of the big things that we drive for is the benefits,
Right.
the
Sure.
insurance
Oh, yeah.
coverage.
Right.
That and the children, drive for both.
Now, how many hours a day do you do this?
About 5 hours a day. I spend about 5.
And we have to say good morning to your co-driver, Freddie Brackett, who also drives in Cherokee
Yeah.
County. He's the reason you're here.
Yeah.
He called and told me about you.
Yeah, he.
And I said, that's what makes this program work. Somebody has to call and give us ideas. So we encourage you. If you are sitting at home and you know somebody with a great story, it could be unusual, it could be heartbreaking, it could be heart-lifting, it can be anything really different. I'd have used you as a story because you're an amazing man. Is this another birthday?
Another one came in.
Another one, Margie Brown on 112, 80 years old, from her daughter Alice, who loves her very much. Thought we'd already had that.
I thought we did too.
I think we
We'll
have
do it-
had
we'll do it
that. I
again,
think
so.
Margie's.
Well, she deserves a second.
That's right, at 80 years old,
Congratulations.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Mr. Dickerson, thank you for being here today, and if they need to contact you, they can contact the Dickerson Driving School. Your phone number is 770-740-1528, and as a mom of a teenager who has a little bit of a lead foot that I think he got from
Big lead
me,
foot.
a big lead foot, I'm going to encourage him to go to driving school.
Well,
because it's going to save some money on my insurance.
Encourage him to take the Master Drivers Program because it's worth more than its weight in gold. In so many cases, a young driver or an older driver, for that matter, gets into trouble on the road because of one piece of information that they didn't have. And you don't know which piece of information it is.
Right.
Until you get in that particular situation.
I'm a good defensive driver. I'm a very good defensive driver, and I have handled myself in a hydroplane situation. I've done it all because I am a good defensive driver, and I think that's important. So.
But you've heard the expression, I know, all your life, that what you don't know won't hurt you.
Right, absolutely.
That's absolutely the biggest lie you ever heard.
Yeah.
What you don't know will kill you. And that's what kills young drivers, is what they don't know.
I think
Right.
I think you need to go take his driving school.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I don't know if he can stand me or not.
Everybody needs to take it.
Everybody does. Well, call Mr. Dickerson.
Even we have to take it every third year to keep our reduction
Accreditation.
on our insurance down.
Well, we've got to go. It's time to say goodbye. I don't like to say goodbye, but I will
Don't say
say
it.
join us tomorrow morning live from Appalachian Technical College, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Show up in the parking lot, head up the steps to the atrium, and we will be right there. Fun, food, and lots of fellowship.
Fellowship.
Come and join us for my birthday tomorrow morning at Appalachian Tech. From North Georgia Now Today, I'm Cherie Martin.
And I'm Richard Scott for Trading Time.
He's so full of it.